Welcome, everybody. We are live on a Tuesday. What the heck is going on? It's normally a Thursday. We're pretty excited about this one
Yeah.
because this is a this is a follow-up. This is a redo. We had a problem. We had a problem, and we had an event at this a couple weeks ago, and we had all these guests lined up, and it was great, and we had everything. We were all freaking out because we're like getting it going, trying to figure it all out, all the food we
Yeah.
get. And then one of them didn't show up. Listen, one of them had to go and have a baby literally on the day of our event. Okay.
Oh
How
boy,
dare you, Phil?
no. I apologize. I apologize. That
So
I'll
I'm
take that
super
on the
excited.
chin.
Well, is this your I didn't even ask, is this your first child?
No, this is my third. I
Your
have three.
third? Okay, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
It's like oh
I'm just streamlining it at
yeah,
this
we're good.
point.
Well, as long as everybody's happy and healthy,
Yes,
congratulations on
I
your third
appreciate it.
baby. And
Thank you so
I'm
much.
glad you were doing that and not just ditching us, because then I really would have been mad.
I could not do that. No, no, no. I'll make sure. I'll make sure I have my excuses working.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll have to have verify the ID of the baby to make sure you actually had the babies. Just so we can. Anyhow, in all seriousness, we had an
Yeah.
event called Home to Harvard a few weeks ago. Gina, who's sitting somewhere on your screen below me, beside me, I don't know where we are here, but she was at the event, and we had Phil Ho coming to the event to talk about some things, and Phil had a baby. The purpose of Phil's conversation and Gina and Phil together was to have them talk about university grants and scholarships that tend to go unused. So I just read a stat online. I was just Googling before. There's something in the range in the last couple of years, something in the range of $20 million worth of grants and scholarships that
Yes.
go unused
Mhm.
every single year for kids out there that are coming into university age and college age. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
want my
unbelievable.
piece.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, 100%. It's a lot to go around anyway. Yeah, for
So
sure.
Phil, why don't you
Yep,
introduce yourself? Maybe
yep,
talk a little bit about your company
yep,
and what your main focus is. Because,
yep.
quite frankly, like here's my thing, and I've said this to you before. Like, I could 100% probably try and fix my own car,
Yeah.
but the effort it would take, and the YouTube videos, and the stumbling around on things would take me forever. And so for
Yes.
something like this, for someone who's got a life and has a job and has kids and has to run around,
Yep.
this is what I need.
Mhm.
So Phil,
Amazing.
tell me a little about it.
So, just as introduce myself again, my name is Phil. I'm one of the CEOs here at Y&I Services. We specialize in funding and grants for businesses all around Canada, whether it's developing your business, renovations, hiring, or any type of grants that are available for your business, right? So what we do is we connect the businesses with the grants. We do a lot of the application process. So we do the post application, pre application, we get everything organized for you. Um, and we've done very well over the past 5 years. So for me, really understanding how to streamline this into helping not only students and everything. So Gina had reached out to me. She is the owner of Radiant Girls, and they help with the processes of school and being able to build your resume throughout the course of whether it's starting at grade 9 or from grade 11 or starting at grade 12. She helps with being able to understand the process of how to really build your resume, whether it's through extracurriculars, volunteer hours, co-op opportunities. She helps you guide yourself into there to be prepared for the post-secondary. So for where I come in is I was able to streamline that understanding of grant process writing and application writing into the process of scholarships and being able to acquire those scholarships for students all around. And you're definitely right. There's well over, if not, there may be more than $20 million in scholarships and funding that hasn't been utilized and everything from students. And I think we get the stigma nowadays that students realize that they may not think they're qualified or they don't have enough experience or a well thought out resume to be able to apply for these grants and these scholarships and everything. But I'm going to let you guys know right now that is not how it works, right?
Right.
Because for us
Excellent.
it's never too late. It's never too late to build your portfolio as a student, right? Because the thing is, Gina and I are helping students and parents around just realizing how to utilize these grant programs, how to really write these applications. So for us to make it easier, back in my day and back in everybody else's day, we did not have AI to really help us implement a lot of these strategies, a lot of these
Right.
writing processes, right? So what we've done is really introduce how AI is implemented that way, right? So that students can utilize that in every which way, right? Because there's well over hundreds of thousands of AI programs that can help you with just the processes and everything. But we've been able to kind of just pick the few that we know are successful, so that we've been able to kind of just teach students and teach parents to really guide them through that process, right? So
So we mentioned this the other day
yeah,
at the event because Gina
yes,
was talking about it. The idea of let's start at the beginning, like let's start from phase one. The
yes,
idea of literally preparing in grade 9, 10, 11 is probably the
yes,
smart way to do it, as opposed to waiting till grade 12.
yes.
And starting with something as simple as volunteer hours make a heck of a lot of difference.
Oh, yes, yes, very
Then
significant.
building your resume with those volunteer hours and other things that you do, whether it be jobs and other things that you do over
Yep.
that course of time.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Does sports and athletics play into that as well a little bit?
Yes,
Like
a
if you
hundred.
play for sports teams and things like that?
Yes, 100%. Like, and we understand not every student has those
Of
abilities to
course.
be, to be within, extracurricular activities such as, athletics and everything, right? But there are different clubs to join, right? And
I
and
was
it
going to
doesn't.
say like chess
Yeah,
club or,
yeah.
knitting club, for God's sakes, who knows?
Any club, and you can, what I realized in school, if you have a passion for something and you really brought it to, whether it's student council or the principal, to really open up a club and really develop that type of relationship with other students that may not have that intentions to be like, oh, there's not a club for me, but there will be now, right?
Right.
For me it's about students nowadays. They come into school, especially in grade 9, you get really nervous, right? You don't really know where your positioning is. You don't know what you're going to be doing post-secondary. That's not really your thought process right away, right? But for us, we definitely want to introduce that concept to be like, listen, we want you to be serious. We want you to understand that there are so many different ways to really build yourself as a student, and opposed from, just getting grades and everything like that,
Just
right?
getting
So
by.
exactly, right.
Yeah.
Just getting by, just like how I used to do in high school.
Yeah.
But
I
once I
think we
started
all
really
did.
taking, yeah, and once we started really taking it serious, it really gave me the concept of really being able to position, different parents and students to really organize that, right? So I definitely wanted to speak to Gina about Radiant students and Radiant girls. So if you can kind of just give me a little bit more process, Gina, if you can explain a little bit more about how our partnership works and what you
Yeah.
guys do there.
Yeah, sure. So something that you mentioned that you didn't like that or that you didn't drill into a little bit, and so just a distinction, there are over 100 different scholarships that are from businesses.
Yep.
There's school scholarships that are like every school has a certain collection of scholarships that they offer and they re required to offer. But
Yep.
it takes time to fill out these applications, and each one has some distinctions. They have, you need to qualify, you'd have this criteria, or you need to submit this or that. And so, a lot of the times, if they are applying for scholarships, these kids are picking the top 10 ones, and it's taking them a month to complete one. And maybe there are thousands of other kids applying for the same thing. So, using AI, we have, something that a kid would fill out to be able to identify what are the, attributes. Maybe, they played sport and had an injury and had to give up their sport. Maybe they come from, they're a immigrant family. What are the distinctions that they have going on in their world where they would qualify for certain some of these scholarships where others wouldn't. So that's part of the AI that we use with that checklist. And then we can say, well, here's the chances of you getting these scholarships are far higher because they're some of the most underutilized, but also you're a perfect fit for them.
Yeah.
So that's a distinction that we can help make. The other thing that's really important is that once this kid is in the end of grade 11, they are with their head down trying to get the best grades possible so that they can get into the school that they need to. And they probably have a part-time job so that they can have some freedom in their life.
Yep.
And the last thing that they want to do is write an essay about themselves. I mean, we all like if we were all going to talk about ourselves or write an essay about who I am, we're all going to
Yeah.
struggle with that, right? So a
Yes.
teen who doesn't even know who they are yet, that's a really hard ask.
Yeah.
So to have a coach who is like, let me help you with that process. Here's some prompting questions. Let's write it. Let's edit it. Let's review it. Let's improve it so that it actually fits the criteria and really talks about, who you are. That's a big part of, what's going to make that successful. And a parent, as much as they can do it, I'm a coach. I couldn't do that with my kid. I needed somebody to help her with that process. And, and when I did get on her about it, it wasn't pleasant. Like it was stressful, right?
Yeah,
Right.
it
So,
is.
I mean, we would like there to be, the school system where the guidance counselors are helping them through this process. But the truth is that we're lucky if they actually know who their guidance counselor is and if they have more than a 20-minute visit with them.
Agreed.
So this is the
Agreed.
process. Like this is something that's very needed. And the worst thing that's happening right now that I see is kids are going into university or college because they feel that they should and that it's going to be fun because they're seeing all these parties online and it's the next step, but they don't really know what they want to do. And so they're kind of fumbling through, and maybe it works out for them. But 1 in 5 actually drop out of that first semester. Like that's a huge amount. That first semester, it's even higher, if you look at the full year. So then what? Then they have an unscheduled year off that maybe, they find their path and maybe they don't. So,
Yeah.
Having this process is saving money from that perspective.
And the thing about guidance counselors is maybe there's one or two in a school of 600 people.
Yeah.
And how are they supposed to know each and every person's attributes and things and how to guide them?
It's tough.
I remember
yes.
when I went through school, they took us to a place where computers were in their infancy as I was growing up, which is hilarious.
Yes.
Come on.
And so, yeah. And so, when we were growing up, we went to a guidance counselor that sat us all down in a group, in a room, in front of a bunch of computers where we filled out some forms on the computer and it spit out your ideal job opportunities or career paths.
Yeah.
And I remember distinctly one of the questions was, are you afraid of blood or do you something about sea? You know what I mean? Like they were trying to determine if you could.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah,
Yeah.
nah. Anyway, I
Yeah.
filled it out as honestly as I could. And the guidance counselor sat next to me after and went, I've never had this happen before. And I'm like, what's that? He's like, it's so vague. Like you could do any job that we have in the system. Like you have any career path available to you. I'm like,
Yeah.
that doesn't help me.
Yeah,
He's like,
no,
Yeah.
that doesn't help at all.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so to expect them to, unless you're out there really advocating for yourself, this is like the medical system. You got to advocate for
Oh,
yourself.
for sure. Yeah.
It's very difficult to get their attention in a way that is meaningful beyond just some tertiary conversations and things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is where you guys kind of become the guidance counselor in a
Yeah.
way to help them move in the right direction
Yeah.
and help them have the right pieces in place.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of like learning how to set up a resume for success because we need that even in the future after all as well.
Exactly. Yes.
So getting coached about how to present yourself in a professional, exceptional way that allows you to create more success for yourself
Yep.
is such an important skill.
Mhm.
And I love that AI is a component of it now. It's very interesting. So are you finding that universities are a little bit like, well, you put AI on your resume or you did this with AI, or is there ways around that?
Oh yes. So what we've been able to do is that it's taken us well over a year to 2 years to really implement which AI systems can properly filter out the information and the application process and the type of writing and everything to have it as humanly written as possible, right? Because you have to understand one thing, right? There's a lot of these grant programs and grant organizations, and that could probably be with schools and scholarships as well, because everyone's privy to understanding how AI works now, right? So they want to make sure that whatever applications are being processed, it's not written by AI. So we've been able to adapt to the different programs that we use to filter out. So it's basically a 3-step program. So we'll use our first AI to write the applications, to write the questions, or write the explanations, and whether you're breaking down your character, who you want to be, and those type of questions, right? And then we'd filter that out into a second system AI so that it can kind of just take out, the AI components within that writing and then we filter out again. So it's like a 3-step process. But with that, we know from the end of the third process that it'll be fully humanly possible, and there wouldn't be, we're looking at from 95 to 100% of it being able to be AI undetectable, right?
And then from there, of course,
Yeah,
your human eyes are on it.
exactly.
You go, hey, like this is me. You're not going to
And the,
assume
and the,
Exactly.
something that isn't you.
and the student
100%.
has an opportunity to like reflect on it and say, well, let me say this, because now they're working with a draft as opposed to
Yeah,
a complete piece of paper, right? So
exactly.
they
Exactly.
can interject, and it's
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to kind of tweak something and really make
Yep.
it your own than it is kind of starting from scratch. So that happens.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
daunting nature of staring at a blank page.
Yeah. Yeah, because our job here is like for us, like Gina and yourself kind of really broke it down very, very very broken down easily, right? So for us, like guidance counselors, they don't have that much time to really make that connection with students, right? They don't really get to deep dive into the students, really understand the concepts and their minds and everything that's working in them. So for us, like we want to be able to create that relationship so we have that bond, right? Because the thing is, the better the information, the better we know a student, and the better our applications are going to look, the better the resumes we're going to be able to build, the better clubs we'll be able to advertise to, this and that. Because in my line of business, I have well over 400 different businesses that we can create different co-op opportunities and connecting different ways, right? So I feel like that's where we're able to kind of just connect from that way with Gina and myself. So that's where we want to break down. We want to break down the niche of guidance counselors. I'll be honest with you, they don't know what they're doing. Like they'll give you the schools, they'll give you, oh yeah, this is the course that you guys want to do. These are the sports you want to join, this and that. But they don't really take the time to really understand you as a person, right? Because at the same time, when you're writing a scholarship or you're writing any type of grants or anything like that, they really want to see you as a person. They want to know that the money that is being sent out to you or you're being awarded is being utilized in the right way, right? It's being utilized at the right program. It's utilized for the right individual, right? So they want to be able to know that, and that's where you start really painting that picture, because it is a lot of analytics within the application process and this and that, but a good amount of it is really letting them understand who you are as a person and where you're trying to be and what you're trying to grow into, and it really gives them that perception, and that's where we can definitely start helping out with that as well.
It's a great moment to reflect on your future in general as a kid.
Oh yeah,
I think that's
100%.
one thing that is very difficult for young people to understand. I mean, as
Yes.
an adult now, I sit and I think back to when I was that age. And if I'd had someone take the time to go through this, like I never went to university or college, bottom line.
Yep.
I took my gap year and went to BC like every good Ontario kid should probably. and then came back and was like, screw this, I'm going to just be in the workforce.
Yeah.
And I started a company and I did a few things, but ended up in real estate. So it never did the college university route. Funnily enough, when I went to walk through Brock with my son, I was like, I could do this.
Yeah.
This sounds like a good life. Like I don't have to worry about anything but my schoolwork and my and partying. Oh my God, this is totally me. Anyway, like I'm a huge partier now. I'm in bed by 10. But that said, shifting the conversation slightly, like what is available? And if someone wanted to like do a little research on their own, without necessarily hiring you right off the hop, where would they start?
So what I would do and recommend to them is they would really understand what school they're going to first, right? So that's probably first and foremost, right? Like not necessarily the school they want to go to, but the courses that they're looking to get into, whether it's psychology, whether it's health sciences, whether it's business, anything like that, right? And really understanding kind of like where you want to position yourself there, right? And then after you're able to understand, okay, you know what, I want to get into business, right? You can do the Google search, look up business scholarships, right? I would, in my recommendation, you would definitely want to go into AI, right?
Okay.
You would go into AI and say, listen, I am going into business at, maybe give 3 different universities, right? So that what they'll be able to do is really break down all the specific business scholarships within those schools. And then it would give you the Canadian and it would give you the Ontario scholarships that are available as well. Use AI to your advantage. It's here. It's grown. We're here. we're gonna have robots on the streets. We're gonna have robots cooking food in the house. We might as well streamline it so that it can help us find scholarships, right?
Yes.
But yes, you utilizing AI and really understanding where you're as a student, where you want to be, right? Where you want to position yourself in the next, 3 to 4 years, and what school you want to go to. Because I think a lot of students, and Gina can probably expand on this as well, is that students will go into a course and not really value what they want to get there, right? They don't really understand, okay, you know what, I want to go into business, but now I am steering myself into psychology, right? So you definitely want to sit down and really understand the different concepts. Like, you don't want to go into there just knowing that, I am good in business, I'm going to go into business, but then you steer off, second year, and then that kind of just positions you in a different direction, right? Like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that you want to pivot after maybe your first year. That is not a bad thing. But what I'm saying is, for me to really utilize a lot of your time and everything like that, and applying for the reputable scholarships that have a lot of relation to you as a student, and the courses that you're looking to take, really understand it from there. Streamlining it from AI, giving AI the 3 different schools, 4, even if 5 different schools. Find the scholarships from there. You can use anywhere: Grok, ChatGPT, Gemini. You can use any of those AI programs to find it for you, right? And then after that, that's where you can start really finding out what scholarships, and with the AI programs, they actually break down a lot of details and the criterias and everything that you would need, right? It doesn't give you too much of it. Like, it'll give you the links to the scholarships and everything like that. But it does get daunting, at a certain point when you're reading 60 different scholarships and going through the criteria, right? Because some of these scholarships we read, Gina and I have read, we're looking at like 20 pages, 22 pages, right?
And
So
some of
like,
these scholarships are
yeah,
like $500.
exactly.
And some of
Right.
them are, $80,000.
Yes.
So
Very broad. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
so it really depends on, there's so many factors, right? And so it's really deciding how you're going to utilize your time and how you're going to get your student to really take the time to apply, because it's it's there, it's as much as we're facilitating the process, they're really invested in what they're doing. And our home to Harvard event was really about how do you pay for their education, and what I was saying was like, don't, like,
Yeah.
and my point of that is, imagine if you're a student and you get a scholarship for $10,000 and you have that in your bank account, you're going to spend it very differently than if it was your parents' money. And or if you have a loan with a small scholarship, you're going to learn how to manage your money, which is really great, learning to have in that first year. There's nothing worse than a parent paying for their kid's education in a time where they didn't really know what they should do, but they went to a school because their friends were going to it, and they're trying something out, and they're, instead of going to class, they're blowing all this money, on partying, and they flunk out, and it's like, okay, that's what not to do. Right?
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Like,
100%.
prepare them with some insight into like
Yeah.
what they could do, and what they, and give them some experience with mentors or with volunteer experience, or maybe even with part-time job, and then also align them and make them responsible for the money that they can get, whether it's a loan or a scholarship or a grant, and then have them, utilize it with your eyes on it and your advice on it. And some of the students that are coming through us, if they're working with us prior to getting into university, well, then we already have a relationship with them. And imagine having a coach that can teach you finances and time management in your first year of university. What's the success rate of you finishing that year?
Yeah.
You have a call with the coach once a month, once every 2 weeks. That's like, how's it going? Because you're not going to want to tell your parents you just blew everything for the month and you don't know how you're going to pay rent, right?
100%.
So that's so that's the bridging the gap and creating a platform for success for these students.
I definitely wanted to speak on the topic of parents as well, right? Because as a parent, as us being parents and everything, right? Like, especially in this economy, it's very tough to really, secure different funding or different financials to be able to help pay for school, right? And there's different financial outlets that are so useful to be able to understand, to really build that passive income for individuals and parents that are looking to help pay for their school as well. And we understand, and especially with myself, like my parents, it was very tough for them to really, because I have five siblings, or four siblings actually, being the fifth, and to be able to help us pay for school and everything, it was very tough, right? A lot of my siblings had to take OSAP and this and that, but with the different type of um, financial opportunities that we have nowadays, all around, up and down different channels of business and everything. I wanted to speak with that with parents and everything to really build their understanding as well, because you may not, I'll be honest with you, sometimes with like a student saving account, it doesn't really help too much. You know what I mean? Because it only gives you certain points and this and that. But there's different channels that I definitely want to speak to parents when we do make the connection, and parents do want to reach out to Jeannie and I to really explain a little bit more. So we'll leave that for a different topic for a different day. So we'll get that organized that way.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I just did it while we were talking. I went to ChatGPT and I typed in, find me a scholarship and grants for this program. And it spit out some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I still have no idea what to do with any of that stuff, which is
Exactly.
why you're here and why I think it's important to have people in our corner to be able to do this stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, we say that all
so
the time. Like people are like, just give us the list. I'm like, I can give it to you, but you're not going to do anything with it. Like,
yeah,
you won't. Your student will not. And
I
you're
literally
gonna be
guarantee you my kids
yeah.
will not touch that.
I know.
Yeah. So, but that's interesting. So like there is it like ChatGPT, like these AIs are really interesting resource for the way things are right now. And I just love the idea that we have access to it. But I love the bigger picture that you guys are refining the process to streamline it, make it actually happen. And I think that's the biggest key here is that, I don't know. I'm just trying to think, like, I leave some of my payments to the last possible second, when I'm having to make a phone bill payment or something. And it's because sometimes I forget, and it's things like that. You know what I mean? It's like, it is what it is, right? So this makes it happen and keeps the student and the parents, quite frankly, accountable to it.
Yes.
So the process you have, though, you mentioned, Phil, is that you will scrub the internet for like whatever you could possibly find. It's not just a simple AI search. It's like a deep dive into, everything. Because if we're talking the potential for there to be $20 million of scholarships out there, like there's not just 3 that pop up on a page. It's like there's more out there. We just don't know about it yet until you guys go through it.
Yeah, because we're not one of these individuals or these organizations that want to just give you a full list, right? We want to be able to make it personal to you, right? And that's where it gets that's where it comes down to getting a lot of understanding of the student in itself, right? To understand what he or her observations of exactly what post-secondary looks like for them, right? And then that's where we start to really like understand the scholarships and the grant programs that are specific to them, right? Because if it's not, then we could be wasting a lot of time, like whether it's like 3 to 4 days on a scholarship application, and we find out that it has no relation to you, or we're not hitting certain criteria, right? So that's where we're able to kind of just break down that process and really let them understand that every single opportunity, every single student that we definitely want to work with, is that we want to make sure we know you first, right? To know exactly what we're looking for, the grants that you're able to apply for, and just personal information to really give you that specific list, to be able to not just have 100 different business grants and scholarships, and then you're just looking through, you're like, oh man, I don't know what I'm going to be eligible for. So that's where we do a lot of the processing from there.
This sounds like house hunting in real estate.
It's very much like that.
I could send you the whole list, and you'd be like, or I could find the ones that match your criteria as closely as possible and save a crap ton of time.
Yes, it is very much like that.
It's
very much like that. The other thing is that these scholarships are not just for the first year, right? So
so that was going to be my other question is, you mentioned pivoting. So here's an interesting one. I start in business, to your point, and then I'm like, you know what? I think I like psychology or some sort of medical field, and I pivot. Can I redo grants and scholarships for the following years after that? So you have opportunity as you're going through. Is there benefit in year 1? You're applying before year 1, year 2, before year 2, you're going to apply again. Before year 3, you're going to apply again. Should we be, see, now this is all news to me. We got to keep this train rolling.
So right now I'm in med school, I'm getting my DO, And I've been in school for a number of years. My undergrad was not, paid for. My DO, I have a scholarship.
Cool.
You
Cool.
know, like it's totally possible. And it's just because like I'm like, wow, there's all this money out there. Why not? Why
Hmm.
not go for it? Let's see what happens. So
Mm.
absolutely, that's definitely that and who does that, right? These
Well, you send them off and you're like, they're done.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, 4 years
Agreed.
later, yay,
Agreed.
like, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Agreed. Yeah.
We need to be on top of this ongoing because we can save ourselves money as we go.
Yep.
If
Save them
we're
money.
seeing these students at grade 9 or grade 10, and we know what field they're kind of interested in, we're like, let's get you geared up so you have the criteria to apply for
Right.
these great scholarships.
Yeah.
Right. Of course.
Because it is a history type of, when we're looking at different resumes as well, right? Because scholarships and like schools in general, they definitely look at, you know did you start this process of building from grade 11 to grade 12, or you started from grade 9? Because obviously when you started from grade 9, it just looks, it looks very it looks good on yourself, right, as a student building that resume, that portfolio, right?
They're making a business decision. Is this
Basic, yes.
person going to stay for 4 years, right? Am I going
Yeah.
to open
Right.
the door to them and they're going to stay here? Are they going to help build culture in the school? Are they going to contribute to, the well-being of others? Are they going to are they going to represent the school and in some kind of way on a awards level or a worldly level? And so that's what they're looking for. They're looking like they're making an investment in a student
Mhm.
from the scholarship perspective. Like, should we invest in this person? Are they going to contribute to our school? So if you're on the student council or you've started a club or you've been an athlete or you're doing something that you're completely passionate about, that you've volunteered not just the minimum but like exceeded the minimum number of volunteer hours, right? That's
Yeah.
another thing that kids fall short. They get their 40. It's
Yep.
like, what? Why stop there? You just
No.
basically eliminated yourself,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, they did the bare minimum, like
Yeah.
next, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's what they're looking for, and students don't know that. They think, oh, I gotta get my 40 hours and then I'm good.
Mhm.
And
Well,
that,
let's be honest.
yeah,
Let's be honest. Society is set up that way.
fair enough.
Society is set up to do minimum to get
Very
by in a
fair.
lot
Yeah.
of cases.
Very
The
fair
kids are
statement.
being
Yeah.
taught in school to kind of do minimum to get by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? We're just always trying to get them to that 75 or higher. Just
Yeah.
get to 75 and you'll be good. You can
Yeah.
make it. It's good. Right?
Yeah.
The world is set up that way right now. And I'm
Well,
not talking about woke and all this other stuff. I don't care about everybody wins. I'm
Yeah.
just talking about the idea of like people that create the most success for themselves are the ones that are passionate about their life and their success in their own future.
Yeah.
Right. And the ones that reach a little further to get a little more and want to do a little more. Right. And you know what? I remember those kids in high school and we used to go nerd and stuff like that. And the
Yep.
reality is those are the people that are laughing over there at me.
Yep.
yeah.
We felt that. I felt that. I definitely feel that
Yeah.
statement for sure as well.
There's a great line
Yeah.
in a song, and it's the Imagine Dragon, and he's like, he kind of says something about, you made fun of me in school and all this, and now I'm on stage while you're watching from the nosebleeds. I don't know if you know
Yep.
that song, which one I mean, but he's like, I'm on
There's
stage
so
while you're
many.
watching from the nosebleeds, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Right. That's what life should be about for our kids and our people,
Yeah.
and pushing them to do more and
Yeah.
be more and be excited about the future and be excited about helping in the community and being part of the community. Cause that's
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm ranting. It's so much
Yeah.
more
No.
fulfilling
100%.
in life than just sitting on a computer in a corner doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be
I-
great to teach them that in their teen
Yeah.
years, as opposed to like
100%.
them figuring that out, like
That is
when they
culture.
hit their midlife
Yeah.
and like, oh my God.
Mhm.
Yeah, because our parents, for me especially, like I come from immigrant parents, right? So it was very tough for them to really understand, the world here and how things work, right? And I think nowadays it's like they don't have the opportunities that we have now, right? So if they intend for us to, the whole point of parents wanting the kids to go to school so they can be successful, they can have a good paying job, this and that. Can we agree with that?
Agreed. Yeah. It's like
Right?
have some sort of success.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
So for us, it's just like when you're able to build an individual, not just, you know, their education profile and everything like that, but their mindset in general, right? Because I think every single one of us here has gone through the hardships, have gone through the different hurdles that we've gone through in life, and then for us to get here now, you know, we want to be able to teach them not necessarily the mistakes. We want the kids to make the mistakes. We want them to make the mistakes because they have to learn from it, right? But for me as a parent, it's like the toughest thing about me is just I'm very tough on my kids, right? You know, I'm one of those guys that, you know, I don't let anything slide, and I want them to be great, right? Because I know that if I had all these opportunities when I was younger, oh my lord, I would be out of this world, right? But the thing is, I get to build my kids, right? I get to really live vicariously through them, right? And I'm happy, right? Because their success is going to mean more to me than them getting a car or 1,000 subscribers on YouTube or this and that. You know, just seeing them successful and seeing them learn through, you know, just the hardships and everything throughout life. I want to be there, right? Because I'm not saying my parents weren't allowed to be there or they didn't have the chance.
It was different.
It's struggles,
They
right?
were working.
Like,
They had
exactly.
Listen, I went to
Exactly.
the Auschwitz exhibit in Toronto on
Yeah.
Friday with my kids.
Yeah.
And we had spent the morning at the home show and
Yeah.
we walked around there. We
Yeah.
had lunch, quick lunch. We went to the Auschwitz exhibit in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then we walked back to the Yorkville where we had dinner, and a nice little dinner there. And near the end of the day, my kids are whining about how sore their feet are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys,
no,
you just
man.
came from an exhibit
Yeah.
where people death marched. And the kids and the families were rounded up into shower rooms where they thought they were taking a shower.
Yeah.
And they were dead 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
You live a good life and you have a good opportunity here to live a good life.
100%.
Right? Success is different for everybody. We all know
Agreed.
that, right?
Agreed.
This has become a motivational speech. I love it. we all understand that success is going to be different, right? If my kid decides to sell mimosas on a beach in Cabo and he has a little booth there and that's all he does for the rest of his life and he's happy.
Yeah.
What else could you ask for? Right?
You can't ask for anything else.
If my kid decides to become a multi-million-dollar sports agent and live in huge mansions, all over, whatever, cool. Is he happy? That's what I want.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, we try to teach them the struggles and things and show them the path that we took that wasn't appropriate and didn't work.
Agreed.
At the end of the day, the thing that I want to circle back to is coaching is one of the most effective and important ways to help people, myself, other people, get to whatever level and whatever they're looking for.
Agreed.
And if the goal is, I want to get my kid into university, I don't have a ton of cash to pay it all out. So, and no, like who does nowadays? Not a lot of people. We want to maximize every opportunity. You find the right people for that. And guess what? They're on this screen right now.
Yep. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, maybe it costs some money to do that, but how much are you going to save by doing this?
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, that's the answer,
Yeah.
right? It's a time money answer all the time, right? How much time and money am I going to save by allowing someone to help me with this?
Yeah.
Right. I spent $60,000 5 years ago and made a ton of money off of that $60,000.
Yeah.
That was from coaching. Simple as that.
Yep.
So you, excuse me, you get in it, you get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my rah.
Thank you.
Find these guys. We got kids.
Yeah.
These guys, first of all, Gina's awesome. Phil, I've only known for a couple weeks, but he's really growing on me. I love this guy.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
He's gonna make me the godfather of his kid, I'm sure. At this point.
For missing that event, I might have to.
If he hasn't already called it Justin, I don't know. Is it a girl or a boy? Justine? Could be Justine. Anyhow, I really appreciate you guys. You literally like what you're offering and what you do for us as family, as parents, almost completely priceless in a way, because you know, like if you have willing participants, as in willing kids that want to do this, and parents that are supportive, this is a brilliant service. And we'll have to talk offline. So
appreciate it. Yes, we'll definitely be able to collaborate more. I definitely want to be on one of these calls, because I'll be honest, this is probably my first Facebook Live. I've never been on a live at all. So this is.
There you go. I love it. Yeah, we're gonna get it out there. We're gonna send you
Yes,
the
sir.
links. Anybody that has any questions, if you haven't already asked them in the chat below, which I don't see any questions right now, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some links down below so that anybody can reach out to these guys and chat with them directly and get some information if they need it. And if you attended the Home to Harvard and you're watching this, thank you for coming back, and we apologize for the glitch, but here he is, the man himself, and thank you. So
Thank you, guys.
have a good one, everybody. And you guys stick around for a sec, and
Yep.
we'll shut this down. I don't know how
Yep.
to, but we'll figure it out.